Chapter 29. Home Away from Home. You wanna what? Marcus seemed very much more in shock about me wanting Drake to stick around than Nate was. And of course Holly was still out. I really hope she's okay. I know I don't really know her, but I've started to grow fond of these foxes. And if they cared enough about her to risk their own lives to rescue her, then I'm sure we'll get along as well. Look, I know I'm pretty ignorant about the wasteland and its dangerous inhabitants, but there's one thing I do know. Kindness. And that's exactly what Drake showed us just now. I don't know if it was simply out of gratitude for rescuing him, or if he felt indebted to me. But no matter the reason, he helped us. But wasn't he the one that led us into the trap?
I knew. Bad. Evil. I wanted help. We needed help. You strong rabbit. I see you live.
Wait, what? What do you mean you've seen me live?
We, Brood and I, attack. You threw giant rock at me.
Giant rock attacked me. What the hell was he? Oh. That was you who attacked me in Little Redentia? Wait, what? This thing attacked you and you want to keep it near you? You are insane. Marcus seemed to be the only one against my decision. Nate was keeping quiet about the whole thing.
We starve. Baird. Evil. Feed. Scrap. No scrap. Days. No eat.
That fucking boar starved you? No wonder you tried to eat me. I would have tried to eat someone as well. Wait, you... Please, tell me you were not a cannibal. Sheesh, Marcus, it was just an expression. Oh, wait. Please tell me that cannibalism is not a thing. That is where I draw the line. Well... Great. Just great. Not only do I have to worry about being enslaved, beaten, stabbed, shot, and eaten by some undead abominations, I have to worry about being eaten by other mammals? More and more I'm beginning to think that life was better in the Burrow. But then I looked at everyone. Drake, the brothers, Holly. If meeting people like this meant I'd have to worry about cannibals trying to eat me, then bring it on. So, what do you eat? Nate surprised both Marcus and I when he asked the question, asking it as if he was simply talking to another mammal.
Meat. Flesh. Blood.
Okay. Olivia? A word? Marcus still had Holly propped up on his shoulder as he brought Nate and I close to him. I vote for not taking the flesh-eating creature with us. I stand by my decision. Plus, you two are predators, aren't you? What do you eat? Fish and insect proteins, military-grade nutrient-rich meat alternatives, and whatever fresh fruits and vegetables we can get our paws on. Just because we come from carnivorous roots doesn't mean we still crave flesh and... Marcus shuddered. Well, why can't we just wean 'em off the blood? I purposefully emphasized that word, making Marcus cringe a little. And onto whatever it is you eat. Plus, there are plenty of non-intelligent things you could eat, like savage ghouls. Aren't they edible?
Ghouls. Bad. Chewy. Taste. Bad.
You can hear us from all the way over there?
Drake, hear good. Hear long distance.
So he's a flesh eater and an eavesdropper. Great. Nate, what's your opinion on the matter? You've been pretty quiet. His eyes moved between mine and Marcus. I side with Livia. Alright, so it's settled. Wait, you side with her? You do realize what he is, right? Especially after what we just went through? She's right. If he really did want to hurt us, he would have. He said it himself, he's got no home now. And if he wanted to save himself, he would have just left us to our own devices. That's why I'm siding with Olivia. It just feels right. If Holly were awake, I'm sure that she... Marcus was interrupted by a loud screeching in the distance. We need to get inside. It's not safe for us. And Drake? He's too dangerous. If he stays out here, so do I. Nate walked over and stood next to me. I do too. Right, fine, y'all can come inside. Just do it before I change my mind. Thank you, Nate. I reached up and gave him a little kiss on the cheek. He deserved it. Oh no, I think I broke him. Drake, do you mind?
I obey.
You don't have to obey. It's not an order. I'm not demanding you do anything. I'm just asking as a friend.
I help.
Drake picked up Nate, who was still mumbling a little bit after the simple peck on the cheek. We walked around the side of the large dune, but I didn't see anything that resembled a home. All I saw were hills, rocks, and other naturally occurring things. Then again, it was dark, so maybe I was just missing the giant welcome home sign. I risked my Pip-Boar light and turned it on. Surveying my surroundings with the light was no more helpful. This whole area seemed to be on the edge of where the earthy terrain of Savannah Central merged into the aridness of Sahara Square. I guess after 200 years without proper upkeep, the natural environment was slowly taking over. Makes me wonder how the Rainforest District and Tundra Town fared. Welcome to our home. Home? All I see is... I didn't see it before. And now that I do see it, it made me wonder how I even missed it in the first place. In that large rocky outcropping was a large metal door. It had been painted in a way in order to make it blend in better. The entrance was large enough for all of us to fit through, but Drake still had to bend down a little to avoid hitting Nate's head on the doorway. That's when I noticed he was starting to snap out of it. Why are you carrying me? What did you... He trailed off as his eyes met mine. At least I knew how to shut him up if I ever needed to. This time it wasn't so bad. Drake was able to put him down and he started to walk on his own accord. It was rather cute. You know what? Fuck it. He's cute. There, are you happy now, Fate? The fox is cute. I wonder if Nate noticed how flustered I was feeling, because he quickly moved up to his brother, who had led us down into a large main room. Here, Mark, let me help you with her. Nate glanced back at me, but when my eyes came in contact with his, he quickly snapped away, back towards Holly. With her held between both of them, they brought her into one of the first rooms we came across. It must have been some kind of communal residency because there were 5 beds, and each of the beds had another bed on top. Who the hell puts a bed on top of another bed? What if a rhino wanted to be on the top and a tiny otter was on the bottom? One small mistake in the structural integrity and the otter was as flat as a pancake. Nate and Marcus brought Holly to one of the beds and gently laid her down. Marcus covered her with a blanket and kissed her forehead. You two should go get cleaned up. Like I said, we have some working showers, but unfortunately we don't have an operational water heater, so you'll have to deal with a cold one. As for you, just don't kill anyone, please.
You kind. No kill.
See, Marcus, he's just a big cuddly little thing, isn't he? I don't know why, and I know I really shouldn't, but I stood on the tips of my toes in order to scratch underneath Drake's jaw, as if I was coddling a child. The thing that surprised me, and I think everyone else, Marcus most of all, was the fact that instead of objecting, Drake purred.
You nice bunny. You mother.
Mother? Mark, Nate, and I all had the same reaction. Hold it. I'm too young to be a mother.
Mother. Brood. Kind. Baird. Kill.
Oh, your mother... He killed her? I'm so sorry. I know what it's like not to have a mother anymore. I think we all do. The room was quiet as I gauged the brothers' reactions. They both had the same visage, one of loss and sadness. In a way, we all had one thing in common, and while the differences in loss remained, we still had someone we loved taken from us. Marcus turned towards Holly and placed his paw on her forehead for a moment before heading towards the door. I need to get my medical kit. Drake? He looked up at him. For the first time, there was no fear in his eyes. You make yourself at home. We all deserve some rest after today. I was the first one to use the shower. Unlike the Burrow that had private showers in every residence, this place had one large room. From the look of it, someone had attempted to separate it with the giant blue tarp, each end tied to a shower head on either side. I stripped off my clothes and threw them to the side. I set my pip-boar next to the pile of clothing. I turned the knob to the shower. At first I turned it towards the hot water, but then remembered that he said there was none, so I slowly moved it to the other side. Cold! My voice echoed through the rooms as the freezing water hit my body. It was really cold. I figured a tech whiz such as Nate would have been able to fix it. Maybe he wouldn't mind letting me try. I wonder what he was doing. What did they do here when they weren't letting a bunny lead them through hell? Better question. Why do thoughts of him keep entering my head? I nearly slipped on the tile floor when I heard the shower head on the other side of the tarp turn on. While the tarp itself was opaque, the room's light was tossing a silhouette onto the material that looked an awful lot like... Nate? Oh, I'm sorry, Olivia. Did I startle you? I wanted to let you finish, but the smell... No. I didn't know what to say. There was a naked boy only a few feet from me. I sighed. My mind was already about to burst. It's understandable. I was just, caught off guard is all. You should have said something. Sorry. I didn't want to disturb you. Well, what's done is done, I guess. So, how are you holding up? I grabbed some soap that was sitting on the small ledge. It smelled good. Lavender? Probably Holly's. I couldn't imagine either of the boys wanting to smell this pretty. I started to get a good lather up as we conversed through the tarp. I'm still a bit shook up, I think. I don't blame you. After all you went through, and all I put you through, I'd be too. We wanted to help. To help Holly, to help you. Thank you. I know things didn't go exactly the way we planned, but I'm glad to have done it with you. All of you, that is. Why was I feeling so nervous around him all of a sudden? Just because there was a naked fox right behind that? We made new friends too, so that's a plus. I gotta ask though, why did you take my side instead of your brother's? He had some very valid points, and in any other situation, I would have agreed with him. I did it because of you. That is, I mean, you're so accepting of us. You didn't know us, and where most mammals just see foxes, you saw something else, didn't you? We were strangers, and yet you still risked your own life to help us. I think that's why I chose to side with you. If you saw something else besides a fox and us, maybe you saw something in Drake, where anyone else would have just seen a deathwing. Well, I'm not going to say I'm a good judge of character. I nearly got kidnapped by slavers because they sounded nice. And on multiple occasions I've almost been eaten by ghouls because I thought maybe they were intelligent like us. But Drake? I honestly do see something in him. I don't know what. And deep inside I'm hoping I don't regret it. But just like you and Marcus, I don't think he's what everyone else sees on the surface. Deep down I now realize that I have been slowly moving closer to the tarp, and from the shadow I think Nate was as well. It was tall enough that we couldn't see each other, but we could clearly see the shadows being cast on it. My brain and body seemed to be both fighting against each other and working together simultaneously. Miss, I brought you a... Onion's sharp voice broke the silence in a way that startled me, causing me to slip on the floor and sending me crashing into the hanging fabric. I tried to catch myself on the tarp, but the rope snapped, causing it to wrap around me as I fell right onto Nate, landing on him as I let out a slightly embarrassed squeak. I saw his face now as he was lying on his back. The tarp was the only thing between our naked bodies. Towel. Are you all right, miss? Your face is turning the most unbecoming red. What happened? Is everything all right? Marcus must have just entered the showers to see what the commotion was. My eyes were still locked on Nate's, my face feeling as if my entire body's blood supply was now rushing through it. Look, I know you two just met, but aren't you taking it rather fast? I didn't have to see Marcus's face to know he must have had a large smirk on it. I snapped my mind back to the situation. I quickly jumped up. The tarp still wrapped around me, and in my haste I had forgotten that Nate was also naked. I saw... everything. I turned and marched right up to Onion, grabbed the towel from him and went straight to the empty room of beds. Still wrapped in the fabric, dragging it and the ropes it was still attached to behind me. I walked past Drake and he looked at me rather inquisitively.
Bunny, okay?
I ignored him, entered the room and slammed the door behind me. Oh, she's fine, Drake. Just a little embarrassed is all. I furiously tore the tarp off my body, wrapped it up in the towel and collapsed face down on the nearest bed. I did the only thing I could do. I screamed into a pillow. And then I did something that even I wasn't expecting. I smiled. I'm not sure how long I dozed off, but a scream woke me up. Without thinking, I jumped out of the bed, towel still wrapped around me, and I rushed out of the room. The scream came from the other sleeping quarters down the hall. Were we under attack? I didn't have my gun or my pip-bore. Fuck. Get it away! Get it away! It was Holly. She was awake, but what was making her... Oh no. I reached the door and ran in. Drake. I had feared the worst, that somehow he was still under the influence of that fucking boar. He was under his control for such a long time that I wasn't sure if there were any lingering effects. Drake was just standing there, non-threateningly looking at the panicked rabbit who was being restrained by Marcus. I could hear him trying to comfort her, but she must have been in a state of mind to not comprehend his words. I calmed myself down, not wanting to show any agitation that could potentially escalate this. Hey, Drake, would you mind waiting for us out in the hall?
Yes, I wait.
Holly's expression of panic suddenly turned to that one of utter confusion. It can talk? Why is there a Deathwing here? Why is it talking? She looked over towards me. Why is there a half-naked rabbit here? Marcus? What is going on? Wait, don't. Nate had just run in, this time fully dressed in a t-shirt and cargo pants. He looked at me, an odd expression appearing on his face before he ran over to Holly. Nate, you're okay. Yes, we're okay. Please calm down, Skips. I know it's a lot to take in, but you need to rest. He signaled for me to come closer. She's the one who helped us rescue you. Holly Kerrigan, meet Olivia Springs. It's nice to finally meet you. I held my paw out, and she cautiously took it. Nate, you look... I noticed Nate sneaking a look at me as Holly addressed him, causing him to snap his attention back to her. Happy. Too happy. Someone please just wake me up from whatever this is. Hey, Olivia. Is it okay if we have a little privacy? I think it would be easier to explain recent events with just the three of us. I understand. I'll just be... You're welcome to use my workshop. It's just down the hall. Holly's vision rapidly switched between Nate and myself before finally flopping her head onto the bed, releasing what sounded like a groan and a sigh mixed together. I took that as my cue to leave. I saw Marcus wrapping his arms around Holly as I left the room. Outside, Drake was just standing there, stiff, as if someone had placed a statue of him there without me seeing. Drake, just because I said wait out here doesn't mean you have to literally wait out here. You're free to move around at your leisure.
You said wait. I wait.
Oh boy, we really need to work on that. I meant to ask, why do you always look so uncomfortable standing?
Stand. No comfort. Stand. Hurt.
It hurts to stand like that? No wonder you always look uncomfortable. Why?
Bird. Evil. Bird make stand. Me hang. Me hurt.
Wait, are you saying that if you were to hang, he would hurt you for doing it?
Yes. Bird. Evil.
What about the other ones? I saw dozens of them who were hanging.
Bird. Pick. Me. Bird. Pick. Others. We stand. No pick can hang.
You mean he selected you as, what, his personal guard or something?
Guard. Yes. Blood. Take. No take. Hang. Me take. More.
I don't follow. I get that he chose you and a few others to guard him. But blood? What do you mean?
Blood. Take. Me give. Blood. Take. He. Use.
You mean he was forcing you to guard him while he was experimenting on you?
Yes. Bird. Evil.
Oh, if that boar managed to live, I will find him and I will end his life.
Bunny. Nice. Too nice.
I've been getting that a lot. Let's go see if we can find a place for you to hang for a bit. I promise I will never force you to do anything you don't want to do. But you are strong. So I may ask you to help, but no matter how dire the situation, I will never, never force you to do anything you don't want to do. You just have to promise me one thing. He didn't say anything. He just stared at me. I want to protect anyone who needs it, from the smallest rodent to the biggest. I looked up at him and smiled. Deathwing. If someone needs help, if they are an innocent who needs protection from the evils of the world, I want you to promise me that you will help others, like I helped you. That is all I ask of you.
Drake. Promise.
But what if he eats us? Holly's voice echoed from the other room before I heard the door slam shut. Oh, and don't eat anyone. Unless they're bad. You can eat the bad ones. I smiled at him. And I think he smiled back. About an hour went by before Nate found me and said Holly had calmed down. I had managed to find some resemblance of clothing tucked away in a dusty trunk. It was definitely way too big for me as Nate gave me a look that said, "How silly I look." Upon entering, I saw Holly must have gotten cleaned up, because her fur looked much more vibrant, and she was in a rather loose-fitting white t-shirt and black jeans. Marcus and Holly were chatting, a smile on both their faces when she turned and saw that I had arrived. Well, they told me... What on earth are you wearing? The only thing I could find, sadly. I really didn't want to put on that filth-covered stuff, and I didn't remember to pack an overnight bag. Ooh, she's a feisty one, Marky. I think I may have something for you. Alright, you two, leave us alone for a moment. We need a little girl time. Aw, don't worry, Marky. I'm not gonna go anywhere. If what you said was true, and if someone did happen to magically teleport into the room this very second you left, I'm sure if I gave Olivia here a spoon and a toothpick, she'd have us out of here, and maybe even a wall or two still intact. What the hell did they tell her about me? Marcus left, but Nate seemed to hover near the door until his brother grabbed him by the collar and dragged him out, closing the door. I should have something in your size. Here, put these on. She tossed me some pink panties that matched the undershirt. Pink really wasn't my color, but I didn't want to offend her by refusing. I also didn't want to have to wear these things everywhere. I stripped out of the overly large clothing and turned to face away from Holly as I slipped on the undergarments. For an insane death bunny, you sure are rather shy. We're both girls here, it's not like it's something I haven't seen before. Although... Nate's right. You do have a cute butt. He said what about my what? Holly started to laugh. No, he didn't. I don't think Pufftail would be able to mutter those words without, well, muttering. Although, from what Marky says, I'm pretty sure he's thought that at least once. Once again, my face was warming up rapidly. Holly distracted me by tossing some clothes at me. It was similar to hers, a loose-fitting t-shirt, although the one she gave me was dark blue instead of white. She also tossed me a pair of black jeans that fit rather snug. A little too snug, I think. Aww, is Olivia now self-conscious about her ass? I realized that I had been patting and attempting to see my butt. I immediately stopped and acted like I had never done it. An hour ago she was acting delirious, and now she's teasing me to the point where I may go mad. And I'm the crazy one? In all seriousness, though, I wanted to thank you. Mark and Nate. They're like family to me. No, they are family. Mark says that you know we came from a burrow, and that even mentioning the burrow brings back painful memories. They hurt them down there, Just because they were predators. Just because they were foxes. What did they do to cause Nate so much pain? I don't think this is the time or place. Not yet, at least. And certainly not from me. I won't press it. Thank you. Also, thank you for protecting them. If you had not been there when I was taken, I'm afraid that, well, they're good boys. They really are, and they're smart too. But without me, sometimes they're just, well, they're doofs. But they're my doofs. Okay, what is a doof? It's been bothering the hell out of me. Oh, that? It's just a little nickname we call each other. Usually when one of them does something embarrassingly stupid. That's like all the time. You got it in one. I love those boys to death, but sometimes, well... You seem to be okay with me now, but what about Drake? I won't lie, I get the willies around him. After having one snatch me up and bring me to that place, you probably can imagine the shock of waking up and seeing him. I really wanted to tell Marcus to throw him out, and a part of me still does. But he told me about how you and Nate stood up for him. I tell you what, girl, if you can get that doof to stand up for a Deathwing of all things, there must be something to you. I had no idea what to say, and thankfully I didn't need to come up with anything as a rap at the door interrupted us. The door cracked open a little as I heard Marcus's voice come through the opening. You girls decent? Yes, but... The door opened instantly on the yes, and Marcus walked in with Nate on his tail. Holly gave me a smirk as they entered. What was she? Olivia is still naked. Marcus froze, but Nate clumsily stumbled into his brother, as he tried to cover his eyes and dropped something that clinked on the ground. Whatever it was got thrown over near me as the two fell on the ground and Holly just started laughing. You see? Doofs. Okay, boys, get up, get up. I was just teasing. She's fully dressed and her face is nearly the color of her fur. I tried to ignore what just happened, before she makes me comment on my own butt in front of Nate. I leaned over to pick up what I now saw was a bottle on the ground, and it was filled with an almost amber-colored liquid. A label on it said Tapir's Lark. I held the bottle up to them. What's this? Ugh, Nate, haven't you tortured this girl enough? My nerves are shot, and I could use this, and I thought maybe... Mark grabbed the bottle from my paw and looked at me with a small smirk. This stuff tastes horrible. You don't want it. It's an acquired taste. Nate snatched the bottle from his brother's paw and opened it, taking a whiff. He pulled out 2 small glasses from his pockets. Why so many pockets? You don't have to drink it, Livy, if you don't want to. Livy? Short for Olivia, of course. Both my boys have theirs. I figured if you're going to be one of us, might as well give you one. You don't like it, do you? Well, oh no, it's just that I've never had a nickname before. Never really had any friends to... From the looks on their faces, I was starting to put a damper on the mood. So I quickly changed the subject as Nate handed me a glass filled with the amber liquid. So, where's Drake? He seemed very antsy. He said, or at least I think he said, he needed to hang. Figured he meant dangle from something like those other ones were doing. Yeah, I tried to find him someplace earlier, but I couldn't find a place big enough or strong enough for him. Well, the garage has got plenty of hanging pipes and beams from it, so I left him in there. He took a roost and seems rather happy, so I left him alone. Kept the door open in case he wants to come by and say hi. I'm glad you're okay with him here, and I took a big swig of the drink in my hand, but it hit my taste buds before Holly and Marcus could stop me. Ugh, what the fuck is this? I told you she wouldn't like it. I don't think anyone other than you would. No, she just took too big of a sip is all. Olivia, you need to sip it, enjoy it, and savor it.
Enjoy what? Battery acid?
Nate swirled the drink in his cup a little before taking a sip. I don't usually drink too much of this, but after today, I think I've earned a little extra. We all have. I sniffed the drink. It had a rather sweet aroma to it, but I also felt it burning my nostrils a little. I've been through much worse. I took another drink, but this time a small sip. Nope. I would rather go paw to paw with a rhino decked out in full guardian armor than drink this. Although, I started to feel good. A slight warmth filled me from the inside out. I said I wouldn't drink it. I said I wouldn't. I took another sip. Oh, actually, once you get past the battery acid, it's rather... I took another sip. It was slowly tasting better. I think... My arm started to get wobbly as I tried to lift it for another drink. My head was swimming. I felt as if I could fly right up into the air. I went to take another, but then I realized at some point I finished it. Maybe one more? I think she's had enough. You trying to take advantage of her? Nate elbowed his brother in the shoulder. Nate almost dropped the bottle as he was pouring me another. You know what, Marky? I think he is. Took another sip. I saw mouths moving, but their words were just jumbling in my head. Every sip of the stuff made me feel better. Happier. Looser. It was like my bones had been removed, leaving me to bend and contort my body at will. It was a very nice feeling. I tried to walk, but then I remembered the lack of bones, and my legs got really wiggly and wobbly. I fell to the ground, and the others rushed to pick me back up. But nothing they said made sense. Something about a banana? Oh, I have those wafers. Maybe they want my wafers? I tried to move, but they were pulling me closer and closer to the bed. I tried to take another sip, but they had pried the glass from my paws before I could. I just wanted a little more. Just a little more. I felt my body fall into something soft as the world washed away. The softness was gone as I started to fall again. I tried to open my eyes, but it felt as if they had been sealed shut. The happiness and the looseness from my body was gone, replaced with a sense of loneliness and stiffness. I tried to move my arms, to find out where I was, but they wouldn't listen. I tried to move my legs, my ears, my head, but they too were unresponsive. I tried to speak, but no words could form. I continued to fall. The loneliness was being stretched. Holes were forming in it as new feelings filled them. I started to feel scared. I couldn't see as if I was blind. I couldn't speak as if I was a mute. The only sound was that of rushing wind as I fell. I didn't know where I was, and that scared me. Trepidation. My fear escalated, as if my body and mind knew of some upcoming danger. I kept falling. The air rushing around me was slowly being replaced as well. At first I couldn't make it out, but soon the wind started to fade as the noise became louder, clearer. It repeated over and over. One word. One fearful word. Help. As I fell, the word got louder and clearer, as if I was rapidly approaching their origin. So many were crying out for help. But they were not screaming it. They were not shouting it. It sounded as if, despite their pleas, they knew help would never come. As I plummeted towards their plea, I tried to call out to them, to tell them that it was okay, that I would save them. but the words could not come out. It was not as if I was unable to create them. I felt them forming in my throat. But I knew. I knew the reason. I was too late. I stopped falling, but I didn't hit anything. Nor could I feel anything supporting my weight. But I simply stopped moving. My eyes started to burn as I felt my vision returning. I opened them slowly. The world around me was dark. Everything was blurry. But I could tell that small dot of light was getting larger, larger and larger. Soon the light was upon me. But it was not normal light. The light was red with anger. I felt heat. I felt smoke. The flame became brighter as the light filled the area around me. Ash started to burn my eyes, but I couldn't wipe them, my arms still unresponsive. I heard the cries for help. They were all around. I tried to find one of them, any of them, to tell them it would be all right, that it would soon be over. I was lying. Help. I wanted to. I wanted to so much. Tears started to form, and as they did, they took away with them the ash that was blinding me. Help. The voice was getting closer. Just let me help. Please, let me help. The voice was right in front of me. I could feel the heat. I could smell. No. No. Please, no. The tears started to fall harder as my vision focused on the charred remains in front of me. This wasn't Beaverton. No, this was different. This was someone who needed my help. Someone who begged me to save them. But I never showed. Help. Another voice, this time behind me. I felt my body move, as if I was some kind of puppet, being manipulated by an unseen force. The new voice was now in front of me. The heat of the flames and the smell of burning flesh left as the new one came closer. Help. Who are you? Why are you tormenting me? This voice. This one belonged to a little girl. Just a small white bear who wore a pink dress. Please, no more children. Images of the children I had found in Beaverton started to flash in my head. Please, no more. The tears were falling, as if they could drown out the world and drown me. I begged them to take me, to take my suffering. Help. Suddenly a collar appeared around the girl's neck. It was flashing red. No, no, not that. Please. I wanted to reach out, to take the collar off and tell her it would be okay. I was too late. The explosive detonated, causing the girl's head to fly off. Blood sprang like a fountain from her neck as her body crumpled under its own weight. It was too late. Help. Please, no more. I wanted to help. I wanted to help you all. I need to be stronger. Help. My body moved against its will again. Help. Please, just end this. If I could save them all, I would gladly trade my own life. Please. Help. The voices surrounded me. New voices were slowly being added to them. Help. There were countless voices now, all surrounding me. I tried to close my eyes as the tears wouldn't stop, but they wouldn't let me, as if someone was making me watch. Help. Then I saw them. Heads. Countless heads, all with the lifeless stares in their eyes. their mouths still gaping in horror at whatever terrible force ended their lives. The heads had no bodies, but instead were impaled upon large spikes, blood still flowing from their open mouths. Help. Northwest. Help. Mayor Swift. Please, no more. No more. Help. Bo and his family. Help. Drake. No. Help. No, please, I want to close my eyes. I want to make it all go away. I wanted to scream to make it stop. Holly. Help. Marcus. Help. Nate. Please, no. Make it stop. I woke up, my pillow covered in tears and my heart racing, and the feeling as if I had just died, only to be resurrected again. I couldn't breathe. I sat there. The nightmare. It felt so real. I tried to forget it, to wipe away the tears, to make it go away. I felt something on my shoulder. I turned, expecting my nightmares to become reality. And I saw Nate. His paw was on my shoulder as he sat next to me. I felt something move. It was his tail, wrapping around my waist. Nate, you were crying. I think you were having a nightmare. I tried to wake you, but they were still alive. It was only a dream, but a horrible, horrible dream. I can leave. He started to get up, but I grabbed him and pulled him back to the bed, wrapping my arms around him as I felt his tail wrap even tighter around me. No, stay. I don't feel like being alone. I just laid there, my head pressed against his chest. I could hear his heartbeat. It was fast at first, but it slowed. The sound relaxed me. His arms moved around me as the movement of his chest, the warmth of his arms lulled me to sleep. I started to dream. But this time, it had a happy ending. Do you really have to go? Can't you stay for a little longer? I'm sorry, Nate, but I have to return to Hope. I need to make sure everything's fine and report my findings back to the mayor. She might want to know about some mad boar who may or may not be alive who can control mammals. Most importantly, I want to know if she ironed out things with the residents about us. Yeah. What about Drake? Mark and Holly walked into the room, his tail wrapped around her waist, one arm on her shoulder while the other was handling some kind of food. Well, is it okay if he stays here, for the time being? If they had issue with two foxes, imagine the uproar would happen if I strolled into Hope with a Deathwing. Well, fair point. He hasn't moved from his perch all night. I actually got a little worried about him and tried poking him with the stick just to make sure he was alive. You don't go poking people with a stick, Holly. But it almost looks like Nate poked you with his stick. It took a few seconds for it to register, but when it did, I jumped up, rushed over to my stuff in the corner of the room, and hurriedly gathered up my things. Oh, look what you did, Cottontail. You flustered her again. You really should stop teasing that rabbit. I've seen her do some things. Ignore them, just ignore them. I glanced over to Nate, who, from the look of it, was thinking the same thing. Our eyes made contact, but Holly had to go and make it worse. I'm surprised she can even stand. Nothing happened. Tell her, Nate, nothing happened. Oh, I'm just teasing you, Livy. To be honest, I don't think Pufftail would even know what to do with it. That time it was Nate who jumped up and stormed out of the room. In all seriousness, Livy, I want you to be safe. I took the liberty of packing you a few provisions, some ammo from the armory, and this. She walked over to a nearby bed and lifted up a black jacket and handed it to me. It was about knee-high to me, had a few pockets on the outside, but it was lined with even more on the inside. Seriously, what is it with these guys and pockets? I tried it on and it felt like a perfect fit. But it was slightly heavier than my old trench coat. It's heavy. It has a special ballistic weave in it. Can stop most normal bullets and even protect against knife wounds. That is, if you keep it on. Don't go throwing this away. Those weaves are not easy to come by. Thank you. Holly came over and gave me a hug. Thank you again for protecting my boys. It's the least I can do. I heard a clacking noise as Drake walked into the room, followed by Nate.
Cub said you leave?
Yeah, for a little bit. I need to check on things back at Hope and... I'm sorry to say, I need to leave you here. They're not as welcoming as you would think towards certain species.
Bad. Outside. Danger. Me. Take.
No, I don't want you putting yourself in danger just for me.
Drake. No make. Drake. Ask.
Let him, Livy. It would make us all feel better about it. Please? All right. Olivia? Before you go... Oh, look what you did to the poor guy, Holly. You gotta stop teasing him like that. Well, Marky, it's about time Nate found someone. I didn't think he had it in him, honestly. Nate's whole body seemed to glow in a reddish hue as he handed me a small data chip and turned to leave. He hesitated for a moment, faced me and gave me a hug, and lifted me off the ground. Be safe. I will. I don't know what happened last night, but I felt better. I decided to tease him a little too by giving him a surprise kiss right on the lips. He dropped me and stiffly ran off. Well, looks like someone else likes to tease. Onion, we gotta go. Right away, miss. Onion looked shinier. Onion? Is that you? Yes, miss. That Mr. Nate fellow gave me a good polish. He wanted to tinker around with me, but I expressly told him not to do so without your permission, miss. Well, probably best for now. Hey, Onion. Remember when Drake carried you yesterday? Unfortunately, I do, miss. It was rather dreadful. Well, too bad. We're taking another ride. Miss, I object. Overruled. Thank you for your hospitality, and, so tell Nate I said goodbye. But I promise that I will be back sooner than later. Oh, and since Nate left in a hurry, let me tell you that chip he gave you contains both coordinates to the bunker and our private communications channel. If you need to get a hold of us, you can use that. It also has Nate's Pip-Board tag and identification as well. He wanted to update your Pip-Board personally, but... well, I guess he was too busy doing things last night. She winked at me. On that note... gotta go. Drake, Onion. We left the bunker and were nearly blinded by the morning light. How long was I asleep? I checked my Pip-Board. It was a little after 10 in the morning. I wanted to get back to Hope much earlier than that. I guess I was too... I really hope we didn't do anything last night. I really hope Holly was joking. I told Drake I was ready and he grabbed both me and Onion and took off towards Hope. Drake dropped us off far enough away that if anyone had seen us, it would have looked as if we were just a small blur. I thanked Drake and told him to go back to the bunker, but he was a bit hesitant on letting me go. I reached up and scratched the bottom of his jaw, and he purred again. I wasn't sure if I had made a friend or got a pet. Either way, I assured him that I was fine. I was more worried about him. During the day, he was a target. Eventually, he gave in and went back to the bunker. Before moving to Hope, I popped in the chip. Just as Holly had said, It instantly uploaded everything to my Pip-War. A new station appeared under the radio. BKN 124 Gamma. There's no way I'd remember that. But thankfully it gave me the option to change it. I made it to something much simpler. Bunker. It only took about 10 minutes to get to the front gates of Hope. It was a really busy morning. Large tents were set up outside the gates as mammals went to and fro, buying, selling, and trading. Life had returned to Hope, and thankfully it was still standing. After that nightmare, I was afraid I'd come back to a burning mess. Thankfully, nightmares are not real. I hope. There was one thing off, however. After stepping foot in Hope, everyone was staring at me. I know I was gone for a day or so, but did they completely forget about me that fast? Every single mammal stopped what they were doing and just stared at me as I walked past them. Was it something I was wearing? Did I say or do something wrong when I left? I hope this wasn't about Nate or Marcus. I was stopped by the mayor, who was dressed in her typical half-combat uniform, half-ballroom dress attire. When she had convinced me to go with the foxes, she was serious. When she was with me, interrogating Nate, she was serious. But this look, it was beyond serious. It was frightening. Olivia Springs, we need to talk.